Welcome to the Legally Speaking podcast.
You are now listening to season 6 of the show. I'm your host, Rob Hanna. This week, I'm delighted to be joined by the amazing Sam Mollaei. Sam graduated from the University of California with a Bachelor of Arts. He also studied abroad in Tel Aviv before completing his Juris Doctor at Southern Western Law School. Sam worked as an employment lawyer at the law offices of a firm and then went on to found his own firm, Mollaei Law. He is now the proud founder and CEO of Legal Funnel. Sam is a legal disruptor and has grown 3 of his firms to 7 figures. He is also the first lawyer to be part of ClickFunnels 2 Comma Club and so much more. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. A very warm welcome, Sam.
Thank you so much, Rob. Super excited.
It's super cool to have you with us. So before we dive into all your amazing projects, experience, and the value you're giving to those in and around the legal community, we do have a customary question here on the show, which is, on the scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very real, what would you rate the hit TV series Suits in terms of its reality?
A good grading scale is never give it a score of 7. So I'll give it a score of 5.
I like that rationale. I also like that answer because I also gave it a 5 when someone flipped the mic around on me. So with that, we will move swiftly on to talk all about you. So let's start at the beginning, Sam. Do you mind telling our listeners a bit about your background and career journey?
Sure. Pretty much it was at UCLA and I had to figure out what to do next. And I knew I had to continue my education. And it was actually just seeing my close friends go to law school. I'm like, law school? I don't know anything about law school, but it sounds okay. Let's go forward. So I actually took a leap of faith without knowing anything about it. Pretty much entered law school. And then my first experience in legal was actually working at my mom's cousin's employment law firm where I got exposed to doing discovery work, doing demand letters and all that stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is what I signed up for. I wasn't expecting this. I was always more of a creative thinker, a little bit more outside the box kind of thinker, coming up with new ideas, fresh ideas, things like that. And I'm like, this is so black and white. This is not really what I signed up for. And I started having doubts in law school, but I couldn't do anything about it. And then I went and took the bar and I was waiting for my bar results. And when I came to work at the same employment law firm, like this is not a sustainable long-term, decision for me to, be able to do this. I need to figure something out. And that's when I started soul searching, started talking to a lot of people, started reading a lot of books, reading a lot of blog articles to find out alternative ways to be able to use my law degree to basically still practice law. And that's when I met one of my close friends from law school who was 1 year ahead of me. He shared with me that he started his own law firm. And what was cool about his versus what I was doing is he kind of built it from the ground up. It was, his own business. And my idea, I'm like, he can do it, so can I. So right soon after that, I basically took a leap of faith right after I passed the bar to go start my own law firm. And at that time in my first year, I had a lot of time on my hands since I don't have that many clients. So whenever else was working, I was sitting there reading a lot of blog articles, watching a lot of YouTube videos, and I started teaching myself about the whole world of generating clients online, systems, all that stuff, literally reading as many books as I possibly could. And I started implementing it right away. And I would never, thank God, for some reason, I was always an implementer. I read and implement as I was read. And I started implementing, started getting results. I basically proved the model with my first law firm. And I'm like, this is cool. This works. So let me go replicate it over and over. So I went on this journey of replicating literally the same systems over and over and over. And then at that point, I met my mentor about 4 years ago, and he kind of got me focused to just focus on the client generation, building systems of law firms and automating it. And I was able to do that over and over. And now fast forward, I have 7 active law firms that I'm either a sole owner of or partners in. And also at the same time, I went on a journey about 3 years ago teaching this and passing this off to other lawyers about how they can also create their own online law firms and how they can get clients online. And also more importantly, how to systematize it and get you out of the law firm so that you can have more free time.
Wow. Folks, if you're casually listening, I just advise you to really switch on because you just had a masterclass there from just the first answer from Sam. He talks about a lot of things that I'm going to unpack. One, he doesn't just talk about knowledge. He talks about applied knowledge. He talked about implementation. So he's not just studying YouTube. He's not just reading. He's then going and applying it because knowledge is nothing without application. He then talked about the importance of mentoring. Exactly. He's just showing me on the screen, focus, implementation, urgency. So important. But he's built a network. He's got mentors, people who can get him to find solutions quicker. he's then talking about clients and the lifeblood of lead flow within his firm so he can survive, because without clients and actual systems to actually service those clients, you're not going to be successful. So, Sam, thank you for just dropping the bomb right from the bat on the first question. But let's go back a little bit on the journey, because there's a lot to sort of go through, and a lot of our listeners will be curious to know more. So, you've mentioned about your studies. So, you studied abroad. You studied in Tel Aviv before completing your JD at Southern Western Law School. So, what were your experiences like studying abroad?
Amazing. Whenever you mix in fun with work, good things happen. So there was, of course, we got credits from law school. It was also literally the best month of my life. And I was very conscious of it while I was there. Like when we got there and I went there with some of my best friends from law school, like, guys, we're literally going to have the best month of our lives. And it did pan out that way. A lot of good experiences. And obviously we learned a lot and, did all that stuff. But, when you mix in work with fun, you're able to get a lot out of it.
Yeah. And it's such a key word, fun. You've got to have fun with whatever you do and have the passion fueled with it. So I'm glad you had those experiences. And then, like you've mentioned, you then decided to become the entrepreneur, and you are the founder and CEO of your own firm. So why did you decide to do that? And would you mind telling us how about you actually went about building your practice in a little bit more detail?
Sure. So I strongly believe that people should build their own equity in life. If you look at the most wealthy people in the world, they all have their own businesses. They all have their own real estate. They all have their own ownership. And it's so crucial. And I had to learn this myself, and I had to go through the experience of owning stuff to realize how important it is to own. Now I'm like literally trying to, first I have to convince my own friends, literally, if they're working at a law firm, like, what are you doing? Leave your job. So I'm sorry for anybody who has employees, but again, it's not everybody needs to be an owner, but if you are owner inclined, you have those tendencies where you're kind of, you're a creative thinker, you like being your own boss, things like that. If you already have those signs, then you should not sit on it and you should make that move. Next is, how do you transition to, starting and growing? And there are life leaves you clues. Those clues come from either other people or from good resources. People is like having a good mentor, somebody who really cares about you, who's already been on that journey ahead of you, who is either genuinely a good person who just really cares about you, or they're somewhat incentivized to your growth, whatever that is. So find that person, and that has to be found either organically, or actually these days there's programs that provide mentorship to other people in a very specific field. And those are the kind of like the masterminds, the coaching programs, all that stuff. That's basically mentorship. And that's when I saw the true power of how powerful that is, because I literally have a mentor for the last 4 years. Every day, somebody that I talk to every single day, meet every single week. When I saw that, I'm like, this is so valuable. Let me be a mentor to other people. And that's what literally Legal Funnel is, a mentorship, shortcut to success kind of program for people, just from ideas and templates and resources that are shared, then able to take the shortcut to get them the result. And then the second part is an access to information, guarded information, valuable information, not public information, but very sacred, relevant, recent information that's shared and that's updated over time, because a lot of business and marketing always changes, constantly changes. This is something that became so clear to me in the last couple of years. It's not about having information, but you need the recent information. So again, find that source that could give you new, fresh ideas, new things to implement now, because of based on what's working now, and go ahead and implement that. Once you have those two things happen to those two worlds, people and resources, and you're able to put in work yourself to implement, no one's going to do it for you. Then that's when, but again, it's a shortcut to success.
Yeah, and it's such a great, example once again. And I love how you're stressing the importance of mentoring and sort of people resources. And, it always comes back to what one of my mentors says to me: if we're not growing, we're dying. And it's about kind of keeping up to date, and things do change so quickly. Laws change so quickly. So it's a really valuable point that you mentioned there. So sticking with your firm then, what types of clients do you work with, and do you have any memorable clients?
Sure. At this point, I don't deal with clients. I'm actually directly dealing with my team that deals with clients. So I've been out of dealing with clients, but I'll just share my practice areas. We do lemon law, employment law, employment class actions, workers' comp, business law, tax IDs, and we've dabbled in property damage as well. So a variety of stuff, but they all have some similarities usually, which I'll share. Usually they're high value. Ideally, I like high value kind of things. The reason is because there's marketing, there's always a cost to it. So if you're going to put that effort in, I'm not trying to, generate something that's $1,000, $2,000. Ideally, I want something that's $5K plus or more. And then the other thing is your geographic location of where you can serve clients. Ideally, I know most legal practices are either, if you're in a country or if you're in the US, it's state-based. Ideally, if you can be multi-state or the entire US, that is the most ideal situation to be in. That doesn't mean you cannot be successful with just one state or, in your country, but just know the bigger geographic location, you have more clients to be able to tap into.
Yeah, no, and again, thanks for being so thorough with sharing that. I want to sort of flip back to Legal Funnel, because you're a founder and you're a CEO, and I know how successful the business has been and will continue to be. But just break it down in a little bit more detail for people who might be completely brand new. Explain it in very simple form and just give us sort of 60 seconds, because I just love the whole idea and concept of it.
Sure. So funnels, most people, when they hear funnels, they think it has to be those specific pages that they see. So people are like, oh, they get their email, and now they get essentially this funky page. Now they're like kind of pushing you. It doesn't have to be these specific pages. That's just the system behind the funnels. So keep that in mind. It's not the specific pages. It's just the system behind it. It's 3 parts. One is, in a funnel, you always want to get your leads' contact information up front. Usually, you either make a promise of a problem that you're going to be solving, or you're going to be giving away something to be able to get their contact information. And that takes time to figure out what that is. I usually look at competitors or see what's out there, or based on what has already worked in other fields, try to make something similar. But basically, just the point is get your leads' contact information up front. Number 2, once you get their contact information, is you need to build a relationship with your leads. And it's done in 2 ways, either automated emails and a video, or multiple videos, emails and videos. Before your leads do anything with you, you need to nurture them, build a relationship with them. They need to hear from you. They need to hear your story. They need to figure out who you are. What are the problems they're going to be solving? What's the results you're going to get from them? What are the social proof? What are the reviews and case studies? You need to systematically build out an email series and a video that, as soon as you get the information, it pushes them there and to see those things. Third is you drive them to your call to action, which for most lawyers is to go book a call or to give me a call. Okay. That's all these funnels. That's all they're doing. They consistently go book a call, go book a call, go book a call, go give me a call, go give me a call. And that's basically a very short gist of basically a funnel. It's very easy to understand, but it requires you to create it, put it up once, and then over time refine it to make it the most streamlined, easiest way to get your clients again to take action, which is basically go book a call or to give me a call.
Yeah, and again, love that. And there's so many nuggets in there, folks, that I'm just going to gently unpack, because you talk about information. That information, data, that is the new gold. That is the new oil. That's exactly what you want. Then Sam's talking about, I always talk about like agitating a pain point, and you're that pain relief in that message. You identified that problem, so people want to learn from you. And then, contacts are good, but relationships pay. Sam talks there about nurturing. No point having this data if you're not going to do something to warm it up and kind of move it along. And then, like anything, you move to a close, and having a very sort of straightforward, easy to understand call to action that people will apply. That's, again, a mini masterclass. Make sure you rewind that, listen to Sam's points, because it's absolutely bang on. So let's move on then, Sam, because you do assist clients identifying which stage their firm is at, identifying the problems they are currently experiencing, and giving them the opportunity to automate and grow their firm. And I'm sure lots of people listening to this are like, wow. So would you mind going into a little bit more detail about those 3 stages? Because I think there's some real value you can share there.
Sure. The first stage is I need more clients. This is basically you don't have enough clients, or your client source is not really dependable. And that usually means you're depending on referrals. That means you have some good months where everything's looking amazing, and then you have the next month, oh shoot, what's going on? And that constant worry or anxiousness that you get from not having a consistent source will drive you insane until you go find a dependable way to consistently get clients. And that's the true benefit of having a funnel. Once you get a funnel that's working, literally 24/7 around the clock, you're getting new leads that are entering your funnel. Your automation is automatically following up with them, sending them to your video so they could get nurtured. And it's driving them to book a call with you so that you or your team can take on those meetings at your desired time. So that's the benefit of having a funnel, again, that consistent and predictable source of consistent clients, basically. The second is you have enough clients, but you're consistently putting out fires, or you're doing a little bit of a lot of things. Okay. And that's when systems comes into place. And that's when you basically have 2 parts. delegation and automation. Delegation is just hiring people that fill in specific roles of those different departments in your law firm. There's some people who sign up clients for you. There's some people who onboard your clients for you. There's some people who start doing the drafting for your clients. And then the second part is the automation, which I mentioned, is like using tools to be able to connect the pieces together. When a client comes in, what if automatically we could send them the intake, and once they fill out the intake, automatically the information starts filling out their PDFs and creating their folders and all that stuff for them. And then, it gets them moving forward. That's what automation is. So, if you're somebody who feels like you're doing a lot of stuff, especially a lot of different stuff, that's a trigger for you to need more systems. And the third part is you have systems, but now it's about you're stuck putting out a lot of fires, and now you're like kind of team building and scaling. It's a scale level, which is basically more focus on systems and kind of freeing yourself up from this system of like this organism that's doing its thing. You become kind of like the orchestrator of your law firm, and you're not directly involved with any part of it yourself, but you're the one kind of managing or overseeing the big picture. And most businesses are it's all universal. Most businesses go through a transformation of the owner starts their business. They start doing everything. And over time, first you focus on getting clients. Then second, you need to hire more, then, scale and all that stuff. So it's very universal, and eventually everybody has to go through these phases, and you do have to go through these phases to have, again, a steady, reliable business that doesn't drive you insane.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. It's so true, because when you start a business, you've got the buzz, you've got that natural buzz, but without all the things that Sam's mentioned there around those systems, processes, and infrastructure and everything, you will eventually burn out or actually find yourself in a very, very dark hole. And that's not what you need to be doing nowadays. So actually taking heed on that advice is super important. Now I was going to ask a quick question. You've kind of touched on it, but I kind of just want to get your view. What's the biggest challenge you see when people are trying to grow their firms virtually?
This one's very easy, and it's very, very, very obvious. The who in your business is the hardest part of your business. The people, hiring people, pretty much your team is going to be the hardest part of every business. And not only am I dealing with this myself, but all my partners, all our legal fund members, every lawyer that I know, this is a universal problem that everybody has, especially in the past year or two when the job market is much tougher. People are less likely to want to work. The market is much tougher, and the talent pool is much smaller, which leads to actually going virtual. When you are trying to hire for somebody to come to your office, your talent pool is literally people that are living, within a 20-kilometer, radius to your office. But when you could hire virtually, you exponentially increase your talent pool. You could literally hire such a more talented person from anywhere in the world, and that does wonders for your business. So, for every problem, there's a solution. I guess that's a solution for us that are dealing with the who problem.
Time for a short break from the show. Are you looking for a way to get your firm working more efficiently and profitably while ensuring a better work-life balance for your team? Well, if you haven't considered our sponsor 𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐬, I'm here to strongly recommend that you do. I absolutely love working with 𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐬. Not only is it the world's leading legal practice management and legal client relationship management software, it also has a really solid core mission to transform the legal experience for all, something I personally support. What sets 𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 apart for me, it's their dedication to customer success and support. There are lots of legal softwares out there, but I know from talking to 𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 users that their support offering is miles ahead of the rest, with their 24/5 availability via email, in-app chat, and over the phone. Yes, you can actually call in and speak to someone. 𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 is also the G2 crowd leader in legal practice management, in comparison to 130 legal practice management softwares, and has been for the last 14 consecutive quarters. G2 Crowd is the world's leading business solutions review website. You can check 𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬's full list of features and pricing at www.𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐬.com/legally-speaking. That's www.cio.com/legally-speaking. Now back to the show. Yeah, again, this is a really great growth mindset that you're showing there, and it's so true. I mean, shameless plug. That's why legal recruiters like us, who've got our networks, that are so valuable, because talent does talk. You know, you speak to most business owners, they will say people is one of their, well, it's their biggest asset, but it's also their hardest thing to get, attract, retain, manage, all of that stuff. So definitely, if you can think globally, virtually, you're going to open up that pool, and you're hopefully going to bring a better lead flow of high quality people to your door. So since the pandemic, then, Sam, you know, have you seen an increase in people wanting to run their firms from home? If so, why do you think that's the case?
So yeah, totally. Exponentially accelerated that journey towards going virtual, remote, not bound to any physical location, not bound to any physical time, and not bound to, again, people and things, anything that limits you, limitation. The good part is I had a good 4 or 5 year head start on this virtual journey. I kind of learned about the concepts of virtual and automation and scalable. And then I basically made a rule to myself to abide every business decision I made for my law firms to check off those 3 things. And I set it up that way. And then, you know, when the pandemic happened, then everybody was kind of forced to. It kind of nudged people towards that way. And that's when people started exploring and using Zoom more and Calendly, all that stuff. So yeah, totally. And it's just a much better business model, just for so many reasons. I could probably do it like a 30-minute, you know, talk just about this. Why it's so much better, a lot more scalable, a lot more efficient, a lot easier on you, a lot easier on your sanity, a lot better for your family. It's so many different reasons, so many, you know, freedom and all that stuff, freedom of time, so many reasons. So yeah, totally. But again, also, you know, when people hear virtual, they think like it has to be completely virtual. No, it could also be a hybrid model, or you take concepts and things you implement slowly into your law firm. That doesn't mean, you know, to making a dramatic change, but understanding what those concepts are and slowly implementing it to become a more efficient law firm.
Yeah, and I love that you kind of showcase both examples there with hybrid as well as the sort of full virtual, because you're right, you can do what's right for you. But I love that message that you snuck in there around freedom of time, because folks, and it's one of the reasons I chose to be an entrepreneur and go out and do my features and whatever I do, because the one thing you'll never get back, that's time. You can make more money, you can make a lot of things in this world, but the one thing you can never get back is time. So this is really good advice that Sam's sharing with you. And if you can optimize everything that he says and put it into practice, you will find you have collected a mountain of extra time that you can actually start to do enjoying things or other things that you want to do. So talking of sort of talks and speaking, you previously have spoken that your epiphany came when you read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week book, exposing you to 3 key principles. So can you explain those 3 principles and how you've incorporated them into your firms and businesses?
The first one is that we touched upon is the virtual. Virtual for me just means you're not tied to a time or a location, which again gives you the freedom to be able to grow much faster. You're not tied to those 2 things. You work at your own desired time, and you'll have a team from all over the world that could do a lot more with much less resources, whatever that means to you. Second is automation. Ideally, your law firm or your business should be automated as much as possible. Automation isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing because it gets you to go focus, to get you to do what you enjoy doing and what you're best at. The more automations you have, the closer you get to basically doing that. Automation just means basically having the systems that do things for you 24/7 around the clock, instead of you or your team needing to go in and do it. And there's a lot of things that could be automated, if such as your lead, automatically your leads being followed up, your clients being onboarded, your clients filling out intakes, the demand letters and filings being drafted for you. A lot of that could be automated for you. And third is scalable. Scalable means growing exponentially without you necessarily doing more work. Once you have the systems and you have your marketing and everything that's flowing, then your growth is not linear. Literally, it's literally compounds, and it's scalable, because online, when you tap into the power of videos, when you tap into funnels, all that stuff, things get built on top of each other. Because you built this thing, this is going to get you clients. And then when you build this other thing, this is also going to get you clients. Well, guess what? You're also going to continue getting clients for this first thing. And the more you build on top of it, it's literally a compound effect. And it grows exponentially. And actually, I could attest to that, because my first 4 years at my law firm, first 4 years, I was able to quadruple my revenue. And now I'm about 2 to 2.5x every year of growth, based on using the concepts that I've shared with you. And then just one other concept that I'm going to add on to, which has been very fruitful, is understanding leverage. Leverage go study it, go learn it, go implement it, because it's a secret sauce that the rich and the wealthy know about. They tap into it. There's different types of leverages. I don't want to get into it now, but I'll just put it out there. Go learn leverage.
Yeah, again, folks, this is a mini masterclass you're receiving here, and it's so true, because leverage, and you talk also about that sort of it's like the hockey stick effect, really, where you will see that exponential growth with all of this if it's implemented in the right way, or you've got people like Sam and his team helping you along the way. So Sam, rather shockingly, you were the first lawyer in the world to get 2,000 plus 5-star Google reviews. So how do you feel about that achievement?
Amazing. Actually, we're sitting at over 2,000. When we're at 3,340 4.9 5-star Google reviews. And it feels amazing because I kind of had I knew where the market was going. And I knew at the time, it was like 5 years ago, people were collecting reviews on Avvo, collecting reviews on Facebook and Yelp. And I was like, what are you doing in the future? In 5 years, is there going to be more, is Google going to matter more, or more Yelp or Avvo? So very obvious for me to start collecting reviews on Google. And I was kind of forced into it. I basically, about 5 years ago at this point, at the time, I only had like 3 Google reviews, and I ended up getting a 1-star review out of nowhere from, I don't even know who it was from, but anyways, I ended up getting it. I'm like, how am I going to get rid of this review? And I couldn't get rid of it. So basically, out of kind of being stuck in a weird situation, I'm like, I guess the best defense is a good offense. So that's when I went on an offensive to start collecting reviews. And since then, I've been able to build an automated system and also use a very specific scripts that works incredibly well. That's not really common knowledge. Nobody talks about this. And I'm like the only one saying, hey, this thing works like crazy. Do it this way. Thanks to that, and thanks to having funnels that consistently bring me clients, I've been able to collect all these reviews. And a lot of people, when they hear that over 3,000 Google reviews, are like, well, yeah, it could have been fake, or could have got a company to this. No, every single one of these are real. If you don't believe it, go look at it. You could literally just go through it from all the way through the first review. Every single one is real, and it works wonders. And I kind of see it as the last leg of having a good scalable law firm, because your reviews really feeds back your client generation. It's kind of like a positive feedback loop. And if you're missing the last component, collecting reviews, then you're just going to bring clients in, and it doesn't really feed back the system itself. But once you kind of built that as the last leg, positive feedback loop, where again, it helps you grow exponentially.
Yeah. And again, I love that you're always talking about sort of, a 360 approach to this, you're bringing people in and then retaining and keeping flow. And again, it's a system, isn't it, that you're sort of articulating there, how this system works. And that's part of the process. So I'm loving it. So you're also the first lawyer part of ClickFunnels 2 Comma Club. So can you tell us more about the award and just more about it generally?
Sure. So it's an award given to, usually it's online people that have used funnels in the online space to be able to make $1 million online. And at the time when I heard about this, I'm like, this is so cool, because it's kind of like a goal that it gives you. Honestly, if I didn't have this goal, I don't think I would have went for it. So it gave me something to strive towards. And it took me 5 years to get and make $1 million online for my first law firm. But what was cool about it is once you do it once, then you kind of see it like, hey, that wasn't that bad. I know what it takes. Maybe I need to go figure out where to get clients from, send them to funnels, set up automations to automatically follow up with them, get them booked, sign them up, have, my virtual assistants take care of them, have my virtual assistant collect Google reviews, and I could just be able to replicate this over and over. I'm like, okay. So when I duplicated it, basically made a second $1 million with my second law firm. Great. Then we also go teach this to other lawyers, started teaching it, started earning an award for that one, and then also ended up also receiving it for my third law firm. But what's cool about it, again, the first one took me 5 years. The second one took me 3 years. The third one took me about 2.5 years. And the last one took me less than 10 months. And every time that you do it, because it turns into, again, it's all system. Once you figure out what that is, very rinse and repeatable. And that's the reason why I shared. That's why I put it up, because it gives people a goal or a vision, something to strive. And then one other good news I want to share is our first legal funnel member has been able to receive his own 2 Comma Club, basically being able to make $1 million within 12 months of joining the program. So these things, again, could be passed off and shared with other people and implemented for themselves as well.
Yeah, and it's a great example of that sort of rinse and repeat, as you say, because once you basically become more and more efficient every time you go through that. And you've given a great example of how you kind of narrowed down those timescales and, new level, new devil, and all of these things that you're going up to. And each time you're kind of rising to the challenge and delivering more. So absolutely love that. So let's stick with online then, because one of your YouTube channels has more than 12,500 subscribers, a lot of subscribers. So how do you use social media to leverage your brand?
Totally. Social media works, but only works if you go all in into one. A lot of people, when they hear about social media, is like, oh, I heard about Instagram. I got to do Instagram. Oh, I also heard these kids doing TikTok. I got to do that. And that's the wrong way to do it. Instead, you want to pick one that's the best, that you're the most comfortable on doing long term, and then go literally all in on it, and then just avoid the rest. Literally delete those other apps and ignore it. The rest. I don't care. Like right now, my focus is not TikTok. Is TikTok great? Yes, but only if I'm going to be doing it, like focusing in on it. My strategy is I'm playing the long-term game. I'm always decided this against another idea, long-term game with long-term people. I'm playing that game. I don't want anything short-term game. And I kind of see some platforms that are short-term sighted, but I see YouTube as a long-term play because, again, you put out stuff as a compound effect. Not only does this video that you posted 3 years ago get you views, but also the video that you posted 2 years ago and the video you posted last week. And over time, the more videos you put out, look back in 5 years, every single one of these videos is essentially a rental property that's generating you income from each source. And I literally see each video as rental property. That's how valuable it is. Like some people have like visions to owning 200 rental properties. I'll have a vision to have 2,000 rental properties in about 5 years. And then people are like, what happened? Like, because I was like, you weren't, building out your rental properties in the last 5 years. What have you been doing? And that's what I've been kind of sharing. And I've been, not only did I started, doing YouTube 10 years ago for my first law firm, I also started about a year ago building out from 0 subscribers. And now I'm up to 1,500 subscribers for Legal Funnel. And I consistently go at it, literally like a robot for the next 5 years. And then look back in 10 years and be like, I'm so glad I did that. I was able to build my rental properties online.
Yeah, and it's such a great example. YouTube is also the second largest search engine in the world behind Google, right? And there's a lot of things YouTube are doing strategically. Like Sam's given a sort of tip of the iceberg there and what they're up to. And it's really smart advice what he's sharing there. And I can't agree, going all in on one platform. For me, my one platform was LinkedIn. I've been all in on it, and it's now got me to being on accelerator programs, getting out there, leads, winning business, things like this. And so pick that platform and be consistent and persistent, and don't get blindsided by all these other shiny objects, because otherwise you'll just fade into the masses with everybody else. So I think that's a really good point that you shared there. And folks, if you're listening to this, a platform I'm super bullish on as well as Entre, because I think they're going to be the next LinkedIn of the future. They're embracing Web3 technology. So that's a little tip from me. Right, Sam, you are also, we've already been through so much and so much you've achieved, but it doesn't stop there. You're also the author of an Amazon best-selling book, Virtual Law Firm Secrets, How to Run Your Law Firm So It Doesn't Run You. I just love that title because that resonated with me year 1, 2, 3 of my business and entrepreneurial journey. Can you explain the motivations behind your book?
Sure. So when I started Legal Funnel, teaching lawyers how to run their law firm in a more virtual, scalable, and automated way, I got exposed to a lot of data. I started having conversations with lawyers, started hearing their pain points. And I realized that really what we just mentioned, how to run your law firm so it doesn't run you, is actually the biggest pain point that law firm owners have over time. Again, there's some people who need more clients, sure, but over time, you'll end up having this problem unless if you learn these concepts. So I basically went and changed my program, revised it to kind of solve that problem about how to get yourself out of your law firm so that you can run your law firm and the law firm doesn't run you. And I literally focused on how can I solve these specific problems that fall into this little umbrella, big problem that you have. And I basically came up with very practical ways to get you out of your email inbox, how to cut out the distracting social media, how to automatically follow up with your leads, how to automatically collect 5-star reviews, and so much more. And also share a lot of tools and resources, templates, and things, again, that frees up your time so that you can basically run your law firm and your law firm doesn't run you.
Yeah, again, that's such great advice because I always say to a lot of people with their businesses, you don't actually have a business. You've just got a job with really crappy hours, overworked, and a rubbish boss. And actually, without implementing what's in that book, you will run into a similar scenario. With that, what topics do you cover in the book? What's the message or messages you would like the book to convey for other people listening in? Give us your kind of, your nuggets of wisdom on the topics and what they can expect if they go and buy it.
Sure. It really opens up everything that's shared in the book is in novel ideas. As a book reader myself, I find so many books that are very repetitive of the same ideas kind of turned over. So everything's shared here, and it's like table of contents. I'll little tease it. Is literally every chapter is novel ideas, and I mentioned what those chapters are. So all you have to do, again, just go on Amazon, just search Virtual Law Firm Secrets, and just I made the book also short, straight to the point on purpose, that people have to actually read it. Literally able to even read it intentionally in one sitting. But I don't want people just reading it. I want you to maybe, the first time you just get exposed to ideas, you're like, it sounds cool, but go back the second time. And there's a lot of resources, and literally it has steps. 1, 2, 3, go do this, go install this tool, go do this, and follow along. And this is literally your way, freedom from your law.
Yeah, I love that. And that's what we want, folks, freedom. And, listening to Sam's journey, he's got awards, but then he's also authored, he's branded, right? So that's already going to bring in more inbound leads, opportunities to his business. So, if you've got a story, you've got a value, think about actually getting a book published. It's not always about the sales of the book. It can bring wider opportunities, because once you're branded, the more likelihood is you're actually going to get things coming to you. So before we look to wrap up, this has been an absolute masterclass from question 1 to finish, Sam. No pressure, but what's your one piece of advice you would give to those wanting to grow or launch their own law firm?
Focus is number 1. A lot of people are missing this component, and it's something that I'm working on since I have 8 different operations. Right now, I'm trying to focus in on those top ones right now. But focus for everything. Apply the 80-20 per principle. If you have multiple client sources, cut that down. If you have you're active on multiple social media, cut that down. If you have side businesses, cut that down. Just go focus. Number 2, it's all about implementation. Everything comes down to implementation. If you're just going to learn and not implement, what's the point of learning? So it's much better to implement a little bit of what you learn than learn a lot and not implement anything. Be very conscious of that. And third, which I think is crucial, you can have both, but if you don't have the urgency behind it, nothing will get done. And I see this over and over. Like, people know that they need to do stuff, but they don't feel any sense of urgency. You need to put some fire up your butt to get things done. And that really, practically is schedule it in your calendar and take it seriously and stick to it. So again, focus, implementation, urgency. I'm actually going to be sharing this with my Legal Funnel members, getting people focus on these 3 core principles. And the more that we kind of tap into these 3 powers, the more successful we'll be.
Yeah. And again, folks, just make sure you take heed of that advice. And I love that you stressed the urgency piece and kind of blended that into, I talk a lot about accountability. I think once you can accept accountability for everything in your life, the world suddenly becomes a lot easier. And one of my mentors said to me, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. So if you can accept full accountability, even when things are going terribly wrong and it's someone else's fault, if you understand, well, maybe I could have done X, Y, and Z, life will suddenly become a lot easier. And I just love that. Focus, implementation, urgency. Sam, if our listeners, which I'm 100% sure they will after today, would like to learn more about Mollaei Law or Legal Funnel, what would be the best way for them to contact you? Please shout out your social media and web links, and we'll also share them with this episode for you too.
Sure. So if any of these concepts, anything I share with you, it kind of, resonated with you. Urgency is, don't just sit on this. Go to legalfunnel.com, legalfunnel.com. You can either Google it, go on YouTube, or literally put in legalfunnel.com. Find my resources. The way that I share stuff, it's free knowledge. Literally 98% of stuff that I put out is just free. And then basically we have an online program that I kind of call it implementation program. It has different components. It's not just like go sit there and watch videos. No, there's a whole implementation behind it. We have support team, things that can help you implement these things. Again, when it comes to getting more clients, creating the systems, and freeing yourself up, if any of those resonate with you and you're a lawyer, go to legalfunnel.com.
And if they don't resonate with you, they definitely should, because it's really sage advice. So Sam, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure having you on the show. So we would like to wish you lots of continued success with your pursuits, careers, and all of the wisdom you're sharing to give back. So from all of us from the Legally Speaking podcast, for now, over and out. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you like the content here, why not check out our world-leading content and collaboration hub, the Legally Speaking Club, over on Discord. Go to our website, www.legallyspeakingpodcast.com, for the link to join our community there. Over and out.